What's up guys, welcome back. OCG Metagame Breakdown for, well, like end of December, January 1st metagame updates. As you know, the most recent OCG Banlist got updated a couple of weeks ago, and of course it got started, or it went into effect starting January 1st, but as pretty much always, like the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks maybe, OCG tournaments starting to use the new and upcoming OCG list in their new tournaments. Before we start, first of all, Happy New Year, of course. Hopes that everyone, at least pretty much had a good one. I definitely had, and I'm definitely excited for the upcoming year, 2019. So before you start, again, kind of to remember the OCG ban list. Like a couple of weeks ago, it got revealed a lot of banned cards. Global, Dandelion, Dark Matter Dragon, Firewall Dragon, you know, Phoenix Blade, MX Saber, Invoker. A couple of cards limited, Needle Fiber, quite important. A huge impact card here being Kagari. Sky Strikers got a huge hit, as you know, and it's definitely impacted their performance, as you'll see in a couple of moments. Pen Magician's a small hit, a Trickstar's small hit, but you know, not that impactful. Dante got, or Burning Abyss got more tools back, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And as you will see, a couple of these cards definitely impacted their OCG format, right? The OCG, at least the sources, again, like always, will be put in the video description. Huge shout out again to Road of the King, ready for dual, Canal Launcher Store. All the links will be in the video description. You know, and I've seen it pop up on Facebook and on YouTube as well, and I believe most people already know this, but we have a new contender, we have a new big deck in the OCG format, also thanks to the, well, of course, to the ban list, but Salamangreat. It's a deck that I personally haven't play tested yet. I'm definitely going to do it now, thanks to, you know, getting like a good build or some example builds to try out and getting a hang of the deck and see how it works. But as you see here in the most recent breakdown from the past couple of weeks in the OCG, Salamangreat sitting at about 33%. So basically, the currently, can I say, the biggest deck in the OCG format, the new format that is, very early, right, but it's at least the most represented deck, not per se the best deck, but, you know, it can give like a good, you know, like a good image of this deck. And then, yeah, sitting at place number 2 and 3. Number 2 is not really a surprise, being Sky Striker, followed by Dinosaur Thunder Dragon. It's a deck that somewhat got like a hype, I believe it, at least if I'm correct, early, or at least in their previous format, at the start of their previous format, but it wasn't that consistent or as consistent as the other top tier decks, so it kind of faded away. But now, with the ban list, other decks being hit, and of course their biggest strength card being Colossus, it's a huge card against the other two contenders being Salamangreat and Sky Strikers, of course, as the other decks Guru, Control, Subterror, Thunder Dragon, Spear, Zephyros as well, and a lot of other decks. The first deck list, of course, we have Salamangreat. It's not a deck that I personally experienced yet. I mean, there's so many cards, so many possible ways to play the deck, so I still have to, you know, try out the deck personally. But it's, well, I believe it's not that hard of a deck, a lot of support, but it's very simple. I mean, I believe it's very similar to something like Blackwing / Infernities. Well, there are two, at least, the biggest strength of the deck is, of course, as searches. It's currently the most consistent deck in the OCG of searching their interruption cards, like Salamangreat Rage and Salamangreat Roar. Rage, I believe, is their themed Infernity Break or Icarus attack-alike card, like popping your opponent's card or cards, depending on your setup. And of course, Salamangreat's Roar is, I believe, their themed Infernity Barrier, so their negation card. Again, very, I mean, if like an archetype has these two cards searchable, I mean, these two cards at will, at their own disposal, it's, and I'm looking at Infernity, you know, it can definitely do some shenanigans, and the deck is of course quite consistent in putting up number 41 Bagushka, a very important key card in a mirror match, for example, negating your opponent's searches, as in Salamangreat Gazelle, Ladybug, Speedroar, Terratop, Stelio. I mean, it's of course very, very powerful if you can put this card first turn, for example, in a mirror match, right? The build you see here, as mentioned on the World of the King, went 5-0-1, so 5 wins, 1 draw, I assume, ending up top 4 out of about 216 people, so quite a lot, right? Super Polymerization, as you will be seeing here in a lot of lists, is either being main decked or most of the time being side decked, since, you know, it's also, well, it's not, I can't really call it a new card because of the Salmon Great Violet Chimera, you know, so Super Polymerization, making use of your opponent's cards, going for Chimera, I don't need to explain it, right? Super Polymerization, a very powerful card, currently at 2 in the OCG, and that's also one of the reasons why it's currently very popular being side decked. So Salmon Great getting more support as well, so I'm highly excited for this deck. I'm definitely going to try it out personally. The second deck is Sky Striker, as I mentioned before, got a hit, be at least Kagari, their I believe best extra deck monster being put to 1, but I mean the difference between both TCG and OCG can't be bigger. Pot of Avarice immediately being splashed at 3 in, well, Sky Strikers, right, putting back their Kagari, and it's very easy for Sky Strikers to get at least 5 monsters in their graveyard. Triple Upstart as well, Triple Desires, again very interesting in a 40 card deck list. But outside of that, Sky Striker is still a very powerful deck in the OCG. Third place currently in the OCG format, being Dinosaur Thunder Dragon. I mean, it's quite consistent. Oviraptor Joe and Colossus. Colossus is still, you know, that big anti-card against the other 2 decks. As I mentioned before, Salmon Great and Sky Strikers heavily relying on their searches, and Colossus being like an instant out, or preventing your opponent from getting those searches is such an, I mean, huge boss monster, right? And we see it in the other decks. I mean, Salmon Great and Sky Striker already main decking 3 copies of Impermanence as an immediate main deck answer to Colossus, right? I mean, but again, that speaks for itself. So, small conclusion, it's still the early format, but Salmon Great, currently the most represented deck. I personally did not see it coming, but, well, again, a new ban list, so, and that's something we see here in the TCG with Prankets, but yeah, Nexi at 3 is of course quite important in the OCG, while we in the TCG don't have Nexi. Anyway, so again, shoutouts to Road of the King, of course. Some other tournament results, as you see here. It's quite of an older tournament put up, I believe, well, like a week ago, I think. A lot of decks. I mean, the OCG format is quite diverse. Well, Salmon Great, as you see, Subterror, Thunder, Dragons as well. Some Pendulums, but, you know, it's super diverse, still early format. This particular tournament of about a little over 200 people was won by a very strange deck. I mean, Mech Knight Kaiju Luna ended up first place. Very interesting, using Pot of Indulgence, right? Kaijus as well, Pancratops in the main deck, quite of an anti-meta deck, bouncing back the Kaijus with Luna, ending up first place. Very interesting, right? It's not like the deck I expected to end up first place. Second place we have Dinosaurs, again Dinosaur Thunder Dragons. Third place again quite interesting, we have the Gandora FTK still, even though Dark Matter Dragon was X'd in the OCG, but you know, a Needle Fiber being put to 1, it's still a very crucial card. So Rave is here in the main deck as well. Gandora FTK is still relevant, very interesting, even though the OCG already hit Dark Matter Dragon out of the blue. Again, a hit I definitely didn't see coming. Some extra lists, some extra, you know, some from Ready for Duel, I believe, in Carolina Store. Raid Raptors, I had high hopes for Raid Raptors. This is like the lists you'll be seeing now aren't really top the list, or at least I have no information about their places. They might be random lists, right? But at least for Raid Raptors, I had high hopes, especially because of their new Link monster. But it's still a very vulnerable deck. So vulnerable to Maxi, of course, as well, because, you know, going for the Link and going for the Exceed, and then you need to use like your Raid Raptor search to get another ranked up spell card search. So it needs multiple special summons, and it's of course very vulnerable to disruption, so it's a very fun deck, but I don't think it's too strong or too consistent compared to the current other contenders in the OCG format. Another list here is Fluffals. Yep, Fluffals, triple patchwork, and as you know, Fluffals got a new fusion as well. Nightmare, I believe her name is. It's an okay card. I believe it needs 3 Fluffal monsters. Well, I believe the Imp and 2 other Fluffals, but I might be wrong about this. It's an okay card, but Fluffals, again, a very fun deck, but it has been a long time that I last played Fluffals. But again, very interesting, right? This new fusion monster as well. Guard Dragons, I have high hopes for this archetype, or for this card series, but very sadly, his Needle Fiber is still quite of an important card of getting, you know, at least first of all, opening up those 2 extra monster zones and putting those smaller dragons, you know, the Link 1, both Link 1 dragons pointing to the empty monster zone, right? You know how Guard Dragons work, so I'm not really sure if the deck is valid without Needle Fiber, but yeah, we will be getting it in the TCG soon, so if I'm not mistaken, but without Fiber, I don't know, guys. The 2 cards next to Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon are the Blue Eyes Spirit and the Alternative, if I'm not mistaken. So very interesting, right? Guard Dragons. Last but not least, we have Invoked. Invoked got more tools back, as you know, in the OCG main decking. Triple Pankratops. I mean, you can't go and more. At least, yeah, your side deck staple, right? Pankratops. Main decking the Super Polarization, as we talked before, as pretty much like a main deck answer against those other cards. Mind Control, of course, to gain control of your opponent's Colossus. Yeah, for Invocation or for Invoked, it's of course like a super main deck staple. Very interesting format here, OCG format. Depends, right, for at least with more card releases and how Salmon grades are going to impact or are going to develop in the OCG format. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.